Welcome to the Woman Who Left podcast. Thank you, Annabelle, for coming. For joining us on the podcast. I just want to start off just by asking, just for people who are watching and might not know who you are, just tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Annabelle Chapman. I'm a UK athlete for Strongwoman. I'm the current Britain's strongest woman. I also won World's Ultimate Strongwoman in Dubai, and I came third at Worlds at the OSG competition in Florida. Oh. And I hold the axle record as well.
I can't even hold that over my head, never mind. But not with a lack of trying. Right, so have you done any sports or anything before? You done like Strongwoman, or how did you get into Strongwoman?
Yeah, so as a kid, I was always the bigger kid in school, and I did athletics. I did shot put, discus when I was in high school. Then sort of a bit later on, I played a little bit of rugby. I got hurt in rugby, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. I'm not a very aggressive person, so I was a bit like,
no,
I don't think this. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I'd tackle someone, I'd be like, I'm really sorry, you're all right. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, oh, well, rugby probably isn't the one for me. And then did a lot of body attack at the gym, and then met my current partner, Andrew, and he was the one. He was like, Annabelle, like, this is quite good. Have you thought of doing strength training? I'm like, not really. And then we've just gone from there, and then did my first novice competition. It'd been nearly 3 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, did my first novice comp, and then it's just gone from there, really.
How did you get on your first comp?
It was very good. We did. Do you know what? It was one of them where Andy was like, you maybe shouldn't have done a novice. You should have maybe gone into the intermediate. Like I did really, really well. So yeah, it was 6 events, and I won all 6 events.
But it would have been a good confidence booster for your first event though too.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh yeah, but I'm not going to do an intermediate because, you know, I'm still a novice. Like I don't know all the... And Andy was like, no, you're going to do an intermediate. Like, stop it. So then my next competition was an intermediate competition, which I won. And then I think the next one after that was the qualifiers for England's. So then did the England's qualifiers, then competed at England's, Brits, and then took it from there. But they're definitely the first few competitions as well are always the ones I think you remember most.
Yeah.
You know, and the girls that were there were incredible. You know, I still speak with a lot of them now. And I think
a lot of them are still doing it as well, are they too?
There's a few that are. There's a few that maybe not so much do Strongwoman, but still train and follow my journey, and I follow theirs. But I think the first competition is so important for newbies because that gives them the feel of the actual sport. And for Strongwoman, I think it's a very together sport. And that's definitely the sense that I got when I first competed and did my first few comps. So yeah,
it's definitely strange when you're so used to doing like other sports. It's you're so used to maybe having teammates or a coach, or you know, it's more you're kind of, you have a coach up until the event, but at the event you're kind of just left to your own, you know,
devices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh god. Yeah.
So you've never done gymnastics or anything, have you? What that cartwheel? I just remember seeing that cartwheel. That was the best thing. That was the best thing I've seen in the day.
Everyone was like, me, I was like, oh my god, I got all the bags over in one attempt. Like, this is amazing. And everyone was like, yeah, but that cartwheel. And I was like, oh yeah. But no, do you know what? I was in high school. I was relatively good at gymnastics, but no, I never competed in gymnastics. But can do the odd cartwheel, one-handed cartwheel, splits, that sort of stuff.
You know what I've always liked to do? You know the thing the CrossFitters do, the wall handstand thing.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
that looks pretty cool. Yeah.
But at 130 kilos, that's it's a bit hard to do.
It's a little bit harder, yeah. And you know what? I think all the blood would just rush to my head.
So I take it then from doing your novice and your intermediate, that's kind of when you even realised yourself that you were you were really good at it.
It's one of them things where, yeah, you don't realise until you are competing with other ladies and other women that you think, oh Christ, well if I'm able to press this, then where should I actually be? Like where should I actually be sitting? I remember when I started with my coach Ree, you know, I had a 90 kilo log, and for someone that's just started Strongwoman and just started competing, it's quite a big number.
Well, that was 90 kilos that you just literally starting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just one of them things where it was like, well, where could we be with a bit of practice and a bit of coaching and a bit of, you know, where could we be starting?
And then that led you to holding the axle record.
I know, it's crazy to me. I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, it's to be able to take world records and do high profile competitions. You know, I went to Worlds this year not worried about thinking, oh, I'm going to zero this, or I'm not going to be able to pick it up, or I'm not going to be able to perform well. It was I can do everything. Let's just try and drill it to the best of my abilities now. So to have that confidence and to just have that, like, oh my God, you're actually all right. It is a nice feeling.
Yeah, you went into Worlds with an injury as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so on the second day, I pulled my trap. It was on the yoke. The yoke was so narrow. I just didn't have enough time to figure out where I wanted my arms. So I jammed myself really tight up with my arms, really. Oh, yeah. And it pulled all my trap, and all my upper back was just not well at all. I had to go see the chiropractor and the sports massage lady that was there, and they did wonders, to be fair, because there was a point where I thought I am going to have to pull out here, because it just was excruciating. Yeah, it was really, really painful. But they manipulated it and managed to get it working again. And to be fair, it's still, even now, if I catch it the wrong way or turn a bit the wrong way, it does hurt, but just rehab it and get it rested and we'll be all right.
Yeah, I suppose that's the best thing about December and January.
I know, not only do we get to eat and drink and be merry, we can just have a little bit of a rest as well.
Yeah. Would you go regularly, like weekly basis, to physio or that, or just for recovery and that?
I'd like to. It isn't something that I do at the moment, simply just because with funding, it is, as you well know, Strongwoman is all self-funded. I don't have a sponsorship for that sort of thing. So it is just affording it. But it is something that I would like to do. So we'll have to wait and see what next year brings.
Yeah, I suppose that's the only thing about the strong woman side of things is the men have been at it for so long, and I don't even think it's to do with. I think it's more to do with as a strong woman itself only starting really to get big again. I remember watching it years ago, and it kind of had just dipped from the TV for a wee while, so it's all starting to come back, and hopefully that's something that some of the big sponsors will be looking at, is getting some of the females, well looked after, because it's hard work. I'm sure you know yourself. It's hard work, juggling work, relationships, recovery, and it's sometimes you have to do it in a small budget too, don't you?
Yeah, at 100% things are getting better. I definitely think Strongwoman is going in the right direction. We've got Wuss was a great example of that.
Yeah,
it was fabulous. Really it was a fabulous competition. We had nothing to worry about. The guys, they set us up in a fabulous hotel. We had food, accommodation, and everybody went away with prize money.
Yeah,
and that's all the girls. So from first to last, you all came away with something, and that hasn't been done before, especially for strong women. I know the guys, they're definitely used to, in recent years having that sort of experience. But for us, it generally was never been done before. So I do think 100% it's going in the right direction. I know that Giants Live have got a big teams comp coming up, which will be incredible.
Yeah,
I
cool.
can't wait to see that.
You going into teams with Andrew?
Say that again, sorry.
You going into the teams with Andrew?
Oh well, we'll see. But it's going to be great either way.
That'll be good crack, definitely. It'll be good crack watching that.
Yeah, and for like the Giants Live to be getting involved in the women's side as well, I think is another big step.
You had your invite for it yet?
No, and you know what? Either way, if I'm not there competing, I'll be there supporting 100%. So I'm really, really excited for it. There's a lot of strong British girls, so I know Donna's got her invite, and again, who wouldn't invite Donna? She is the GOAT after all.
She's the one we all look up to.
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, anybody else from the British women's side would be more than capable of putting on a fantastic show. So
yeah. What challenges do you find when you're trying to juggle your training, your recovery, and your relationship around work and training?
Yeah, so I'm very blessed relationship wise. Andrew is 100% involved with Strongman. He loves training. I love training. So we're all on the same journey, which is nice. I'm 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. I work as a claims advisor at Aviva. So it's up early to work, finish at 5, eat my food, and get off to training. It is about half an hour drive to where we train, and yeah, we train for 2.5, 3 hours, and we're usually back by 9. So we have tea, go to bed, and repeat. So it is just a case of, for me, I know how long we train. I know that I work Monday to Friday, and it is just getting into a rhythm with that. So it's just life now.
Yeah.
It's just my life
habit now, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. I'm just like, yeah, this is what I do. When people are like, oh, what do you do at the gym? Oh, well, what are you doing Thursday? I'm at the gym. And it's just routine now.
Yeah. Your prep for the Ultimate Strongwoman and Britain's, how did you, I think the events were pretty similar, weren't they? So how did you kind of manage the prep for the both of them and recovery in between? Because you were on a flight, for nearly 24 hours, wasn't that flight, I would say, from Dubai home?
I'm trying to think now. It wasn't as long as that. No, I think it was it an 8 or 10 hour flight, 10 hour flight, but the time difference was the bit that messed me around a little bit, because I was quite a bit in front of UK time. But like you say, I was very lucky that the events were very similar. So my main focus was on Dubai. So we literally just prepped as hard as we could for the Dubai competition. And my thought for Britain's Strongest Woman was to just go and enjoy it. And it was like the first sort of arena in, like in Donny Dome. It was close to my home. So I was like, I can't not go.
Yeah.
So it was just a case of going there, supporting the event, supporting the girls, and just having a good time. And I was just lucky enough to win that comp as well. I know Rebecca Roberts was suffering with a really bad knee injury actually at that comp, and I have no doubt if she was on full form like she was at Worlds, that title would have been hers 100%.
There'll be a career battle next year watching the two of you.
It's gonna be incredible. I feel like the Opens women's have just like got better and better and better, and the British the British side of athletes is incredible. We've got Donna, Andrea, myself, Rebecca, Lucy, who's got the 300 kilo world record. Again, I mean, I know that she hasn't competed sort of in recent months, but
she's struggling a bit of an injury as well. So I think she wants to make sure she's fully healed, or as close as, before she competes again.
Yeah, and I think if we're all there next year fighting for the title, I think it's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, that'll be one hell of a show anyway.
Yeah.
So it will be, definitely. What did you enjoy most about the Ultimate Strongwoman one?
The Dubai show. what did I enjoy the most? Do you know what? I quite enjoyed the fast pace of the show. It was quick. It was 90 minutes, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I suppose you're still warmed up going into the next one.
Yeah, we were like, and to be fair, nobody really needed a warm up because we were ready to go. We were sweating, we were panting. We were like, right, next one. So yeah, I really did enjoy the fast pace of that show. And again, do you know what? All the girls were just bloody lovely. Everybody got on with everybody. We were all having a right laugh backstage, and just enjoying it. I think everybody went within the same mindset of nobody was going there to right, I'm dominating, I'm going to win. Everybody wanted to put on a really good show to show that women can be as impressive as the guys. So I think that's why it looked so great, because everybody was like, right, let's put on a really, really good bloody show and just show everyone what we can do. And that's what we did.
How did you mentally, like, I know because physically there's quite a lot of heavy lifting in that when it comes to, you know, strong woman and strongman. So how do you mentally prepare yourself when you're going into, even just going into the gym just to train? So I know myself, there's days I just can't be bloody bothered.
Yeah. There are like on my training days, I try and focus on the bigger picture. I try and think, well, this is one session, but it's one session that counts towards my bigger goals, and that usually puts a firework up my bum, and I'm like, right, let's just get the work done, and let's, you know, with like records or doing like the big heavy lifts, you know, when you're like, right, I really have to just, I tell myself and I haven't, but I tell myself, you've lifted this 100 times. Lift it one more time. And that's how I just, because I think sometimes you can get so focused on, oh my God, I've never felt this weight on my chest before, or I've never felt it like over my head before, or never felt it on my back before. I don't know how this is going to feel. And for me, if I tell myself I've felt it before and I've felt it 100 times, it just makes me feel a bit more at ease of actually doing the weight or the lift. Yeah.
You've never, like, I suppose, I know there's some athletes, not even just in general, like athletes would go see like counselors, you know, like to mentally prepare themselves and stuff, you know, like we give them wee tips and stuff whenever they go into events. Not something, obviously, if you're able to cope with that yourself, then there's not really no need for yourself, but I know that's quite helpful to some athletes that I know.
Yeah, there's definitely I know there's a few high level ladies that compete that have gone into, or I'm trying to think of the word, but no, it's not therapy, but it's like affirmation, like positive affirmation, like someone sort of goes through with you. And I know that it really does help. But being myself quite positive and mentally just positive. I don't necessarily worry too much like on comp days and things like that. My motto is, if it's gonna go, it's gonna go, and if it don't, then we'll try again another time. Don't worry.
I was going to break into song there, but I'll not. But I don't think everybody wants to hear me sing. So your cycles and stuff, do you, being a natural athlete, is that something you kind of work your training around? Because there's obviously times in your cycle where you're peak, times in your cycle where you'll just be a wee bit lower than normal. Do you just kind of work around them?
Yeah, so my cycle's it can happen when and wherever. It's literally like, it could be every 6, 8, 10 weeks. So I do struggle sometimes planning around it, but I do know that when I'm having a rubbish week and my cycle is due, I am well aware of that's why it's going really bad. There are my strength, my coach, and Vicky, my nutritionist, will tell you there is a definite drop in strength, explosiveness, power when I am literally due on, and it just drops.
And they just change that training cycle then to suit you then?
Yeah, so we just try and eat a little bit more to compensate for the loss of power, train a little lighter just so I'm not feeling completely pants. And yeah, but then there is that time where I'm like Superwoman and I could do anything in that week and it would look incredible. but it is just the peaks and troughs of your period, unfortunately, that we suffer with. And like you say, we've been natural. You just have to try and work around that a little bit.
Yeah, and whenever you were at them big competitions there, the last three you were at, do you kind of know where you were in your cycle? With that, do you think that helped at like on the events on the day as well, or as you were saying, you just kind of go give it your all, do what you can, and
I think for me it's a give it your all, do what you can. I know on comp day I perform particularly well. I don't know what it is about a comp day, whether I've been feeling pretty low or whether my cycle is due or anything like that. When it comes to comp day, it's like my normal self times 100. It's I always perform very well on a comp day, and I know that you should, but 9 times out of 10, I mean, the UK Strongest Woman for myself was not a very good comp day.
You fell on day one, didn't you?
Yeah,
it was a good setup, but it was just unfortunate that it bloody bucketed down like the hour before. That was really unfortunate, and I don't even think they were prepared maybe enough for it to be raining. At the end of the day, we do live in Northern Ireland and the UK, so that's all you ever get around here is rain.
It was just one of them things where I'd gone out and in my head I was like, oh, should I just go out in front or behind? And I thought, no, it's going to be on TV, go out the front. And then as soon as I just stepped out, I fell and I sort of like twisted my hip and my leg, and my hip was just all a bit battered then. So I was just shaky for the rest of the comp. It just wasn't my best performance, let's say that.
It wasn't your best performance, but you still came up with what you were fifth, wasn't it?
I came fifth overall, which I was, for the way the whole comp was going, I was very happy with.
Yeah, well, I don't even think anybody even copped on though that you had fell until like well after, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, Andy was like, oh, they were like, oh, she's down, but he was like, I didn't think nothing of it. But then when he was like, then when I saw your hip, because it was all pretty battered, and my elbow, and then he saw the footage, he was like, oh, actually, yeah, you did go down with a bang. And I'm a big girl, so when I go down, I go down and it hurts.
I was going to say, anytime I fell in the past, like I do judo, so anytime I fell in the past, it's usually landed on my backside, which is all right because there's a queer bit of cushion there. So it worked out all right. So record, how did you prepare for that? And I was also watching some YouTube videos with you, and it you were I think it was an interview or something you had done with Rhiannon, just the YouTube video that you wanted to hold the log and the axle record. Is that something that's a priority for you for 2022, or what are your goals or your priorities for them?
Yeah, so 2022, I would like to have an attempt at the log world record. I have pressed 140 on a barbell out the rack. 140 is something that I can clean on a log to my chest. So I think it isn't out of the realms for me to do next year. And I know that is something that we're definitely peaking towards next year as well. It is, and I will probably look to do the same for the axle as well. Just maybe up that a little bit more, just to close the gap on anyone that might be looking to attempt that. So yeah, I'd like to do that. But yeah, mentally for the 130 prep, it was really hard because we were prepping for such a long time for it, and then actually it got moved, it got cancelled.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this, but because they weren't allowing belt cleans at this certain comp, they wouldn't allow me to belt clean.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we were doing it at a competition where they were doing an axle clean and press, but the ref wasn't allowing belt cleans for the guys and said that the girls couldn't do it either. But it's not something that's regulated with the women's side. So it got cancelled anyway, did the record attempts that me and Rhiannon was going to do. But then Aunt Brown said, look, I'm more than happy for you to come and do it with us. So 1 minute it was off, the next minute it was on. So emotions were very much everywhere. And Rhea was like, look, if you don't want to do it, we prepped for it was a long prep for this record. She was like, you've prepped for a long time. If you don't want to do it, I'm more than happy for you to say no. I was like, well, we've done it now. We might as well just give it a bash. So we did, and we went, and it was a fab day. All the guys were great, literally so supportive. And yeah, it was 131 kilos because Luke, my coach, was like, we can't do 130. You've already done 130 in the gym. Do 131, and it's a PB. So I thought, oh, bloody, I'll get 131 on. And yeah, it was really good. And one of the things from that day, there was a little girl with a little umbrella, and she was like copying me right in front of me, screaming, "Go on, Annabelle!" with the little brolly over her head. And I was like, oh my God. Do you know, and yeah, and that's why you do it, innit? To just show little girls that actually we can do what the guys do.
Yeah, you don't know who's watching, who gets inspired by it, definitely.
Yeah.
Who inspired you? Like, woman or man, doesn't really matter, but who inspired you the most when it comes to like strong women, or even just in your own, your everyday personal life, to be the woman you are today?
Donna Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's on everybody's inspired me list, but Donna Moore, I remember when I first started, and I remember looking at Donna and I was like, she is incredible. Like, she's just incredible. And yeah, she definitely was someone who I looked up to being just like, and being able to compete with her at Worlds. And I remember when I did my first World, she came up to me, she was like, how was the axle? You made it look really easy. And I nearly passed out. I was like, oh my God, Donna. Oh, and then just to be able to spend the week with her in Dubai, and just, she's lovely as well. You would not find a nicer person. She's got all the time in the world for strong women and women in general and people in general. She's just a lovely lady. But yeah, Donna for sure. And I always say this to like the light women. It could be any lightweight category athlete. I just think what they do inspires me to push harder, because the weights that they're moving at the weight that they are, I think is just inspiring. I just think they just do so incredibly well. And I know a lot of lightweight, Rhiannon, Chloe Brennan, Shannon, there's some really impressive women that can shift some bloody weight fast.
They had
as
some
well.
amount of women at OSG as well. I'd never seen as many women in a competition doing strongwoman.
Yeah. And they look incredible. I'm like, you guys are like little action figures. Honestly, they're just insane. Chloe Brennan's car walk was a car walk run was incredible. And just there's so much power and so much talent in those lightweight categories that they deserve all the recognition that they get. And again, I say, I think, well, if they can bloody run with it, so I should be able to, come on, crack on. So yeah, definitely they pushed me to push harder.
You were saying as well, you're coached now by Rhiannon, is that right? Is it just mostly online? Because I don't think there's a chaos gym near you, is there?
No, so they're in a chaos gym near us, no, but yeah, it is online programming. We do go for odd sessions with Rhi down at Chaos. If she's down at Chaos, I will try and get in with a one-to-one session with her. But she's fabulous. Feedback every week. We've had a call about off season and what we want to achieve. Anytime that there's upcoming comps, she's always on hand. Call me if you need me. It's very personal to you, and I think as well, if you are struggling or you need a help, she is on hand. She's great.
How did you decide that you wanted to go with Rhiannon? What was there? Did you know her from beforehand, or?
Yeah, so she held a qualifiers run through for England's qualifiers, which was one of my first few comps. So I went there for the day. Had a bit of a chat with her, had a chat with Bex as well, who was at Chaos at the time, and just had a chat with a few of the athletes there, and I just loved it. Chaos is such a positive and friendly, welcoming vibe. I was like, I absolutely love it here. And I went away from there saying to Andrew, I want to be coached by Rhiannon Lovelace tonight. I want her now.
Yesterday, you wanted her
Literally.
yesterday.
Yeah, and she, do you know what? She's done so much, not only for my physical strength, for my mental strength, just confidence in the actual sport. There were times where I was like, you do think, oh God, am I good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Can I compete with the big girls on the big stage? Is that something that I am capable of? And she will 100% back you all the way and say yes. So yeah, she's fab.
Yeah. Are you going to always stay an open athlete, or have you ever any plans? Any plans in the future for?
I just love food.
Oh, I know. Food's life.
Yeah, and I know that OSG are bringing or an under 90s category. I think
yeah.
now for me to be under 91s currently, I'd have to lose 30 kilos, which is
It's
small
doable.
infant.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not tall, and I think all the opens at Worlds are all either 6 foot or above. Sort of in the top girls are very, very tall. But then I think, well, Donna isn't particularly tall, and Andrea Thompson also isn't particularly tall, and they're like one of the world's best. So maybe it ain't all about height. We'll see.
Not all about your size, no. It's about your attitude and how you approach it.
Yeah. So it might be that one day I look at cutting down and maybe looking at a different category. But for now, I don't think I can do it. I just love food, just like my food.
How many calories do you eat on a daily basis?
So do you know what? And you're going to be shocked about this. It isn't a lot. So I'm with Vicky at the moment. And I think when we were prepping for Worlds, it was maybe like 2,700.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're not. It's not like 3,000 plus. It's nothing like that. And I'm cutting at the moment, so I'm on a little bit of a cut, so that we can then go into season and peak up again.
Yeah.
But on a little bit of a cut, and I think now I'm on like maybe like 2,200. So it's not a lot, but I perform really well on not a lot of food. Yeah.
Well, clean eating and stuff you do, isn't it? Have you no cheat days or anything?
No, although you say that, then we've had weddings and it's Christmas, so there might be an odd day, but yeah, I try and keep it as clean as we can. And I think, do you know what? I do think that as well is like, I'm one of these people where I love strongman, I really do, but I really love like my social side of life. Mm-hmm. So like I will work my ass off at the gym, and I really, really do. But then I really do love going out and getting dressed up and drinking and having a party, having a dance and going to weddings.
You're young too. You're what, 24, 25 or?
Oh, I'm 28.
28.
But I'll take 24.
You're still young.
I'll take 24 though. But yeah, so I do enjoy that side of my life as well. And I've always said to Ree and Vicky, you know, I don't ever want to cut that out.
No. You can always add them in for like extra calories at the weekend, a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Chinese after.
Yeah. And it's just, and do you know what? I just think you're just living your best life at that point. You know, you're training, doing what you love, competing, doing what you love, and also socializing outside of that, which again is something that I absolutely love. So
was there much socializing done after the competition, or did you even get time to socialize in Dubai afterwards? You just won it, and you were nearly just on a flight again home, weren't you?
Yeah, it was literally, we got home, we packed, we had a 3-hour sleep, traveled to the airport, flew home, unpacked, saw everybody, slept, and then competed at Brits. And then after Brits, I didn't want to celebrate, I just wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
But then after Worlds, I celebrated a little bit too hard at the after party. And made myself very poorly. So Annabelle had to go home early. But yeah, we did have time to celebrate after Florida Worlds. It was great.
I can't think of anything else. I could chat to you all day long. Is there anything at all that you want to chat about, or do you think we've kind of covered everything?
Yeah, I think pretty much covered everything. Yeah.
Well then, thank you very much for joining me. It was a pleasure getting to
No,
talk to you
thank
again.
you. No, thank you. Honestly, I think there just needs to be more of this chat between like strong women and just having a chat about our experiences. And I think it just brings more people in and more ladies in to want to come and try it and give it a go.
I think too, because like I know before I got into it, I felt intimidated, but not.
Yeah.
It was just more because like, God, these are really, really strong. You know, they look, whenever you're in competition mode, everyone just kind of looks like, you know,
Yeah.
just don't go near them, they'll bite your head off. But whenever I seen after, you know, whenever I got at the UK's, whenever you got down and, you know, you seen behind like the scenes that everybody was just, these were all having a bit of banter, and there was,
Yeah.
you know, these were all like really close and taking selfies and singing and dancing and getting on. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's actually different to what you know, to what you expect, because I suppose you don't
Yeah.
see that side of things on the camera. So you don't
No.
just see everybody like in their headspace ready to
go. And I think I really struggle with that because I want to talk to people, and I'm very bubbly, I'm very talkative, and very smiley. And I think that was one of the things I really struggled with when I first started competing, because nobody wanted to talk to me. Everybody was very serious. But it, like you say, it is just because they're in competition mode. They've got their heads switched on, and that's what they like to do to get going and to get into the event. And everybody is completely different. So if you are one of the smiley, bubbly, laughy, please talk to me ones.
Yeah, I would be one of the talkative ones. I find it quite odd whenever everyone else just kind of sits in their own wee space with their headphones, not wanting to talk to anybody. And I'm like dancing around like, hey.
Yeah.
I suppose not everybody's found that wee switch.
No.
There's days I forget what my switch is, like, and I'm only starting out, like, but there's days you kind of forget what your wee switch is.
Yeah.
But I think because I'm a nurse, I've kind of learned that switch. I can switch on and off between working and coming home. So I think that kind of incorporates in and with the training and the events.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, all right. No, thank you.
Thank you for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and ring that wee bell. Ding-a-ling.